we actually sat down and had a chat with the Nigerian ambassador to Qatar, Yakubu Ahmed, and he spoke about the whole visa issues, the hire card, and lives of Nigerians living in Qatar. Not just Nigerians, but the system of living here in Qatar. Let's listen to that chat and we'll be back.
Of Nigeria in Doha has reiterated an advisory to Nigerian travelers regarding strict rules of behavior demanded by the authorities in Qatar. Such an announcement was published by the FIFA tournament that began on the 20th of November and will last until the 18th of December. In this regard, the embassy has stressed that it wishes to advise fans from Nigeria traveling for the soccer fiesta to obey and respect the laws of Qatar. Our ICE team went to the Nigerian embassy in Doha and interviewed the ambassador as we had an exclusive chat on the World Cup, Nigeria, and the people in Doha.
All right, it's been a unique World Cup. From the perspective of the Nigeria High Commission, how has been the Qatar 2022 experience?
Yeah, actually, it's a wonderful experience I'm having for this World Cup. It's the first ever of this kind because this is the only World Cup that is held in one city. You can watch 4 games in a day. As it is, every day I watch 2 games. And the excellent infrastructure are there. Thanks to Qatar government, they have excellent infrastructure on ground, and they accommodated people. A lot of fans are happy being Qatar despite the criticism. This is going well as well.
Notwithstanding the failure of Nigeria to qualify for the World Cup, so many Nigerians actually came in as volunteers. What do you say about the influx of people into Qatar?
Yeah, there is a lot of Nigerian volunteers registered, and they are in Qatar, and they are participating actively, contributing to their own quota. Even though our teams are not here, even my family, some of them register as a volunteer. Every day they go and work voluntarily. So we encourage a lot of Nigerians to register and volunteer. So our presence can be felt everywhere in Qatar.
From your perspective, what do you make of the heat the Western world has given Qatar in the build-up in terms of the migrant workers, in terms of the LGBTQ community and the rights here in Qatar?
Yeah, actually the criticism were totally uncalled for, and I'm happy that Qatar did not allow the negative voice effect to draw them back for holding this World Cup. Each nation has its own tradition and its own culture, and if you have a peaceful place to live, you have to respect the right of each country and its culture and tradition. And you are a living witness. You are in Qatar now, and you have seen how accommodated they are. Go to all the fun zone. People are enjoying themselves, dressed like Qataris, and they are enjoying. It's not only just for LGTB or drinking beer or even the street that you can enjoy yourself. You can enjoy yourself for other means, and they are very accommodated. It's uncalled for, and I'm happy things are going fine.
And now, for the period of the World Cup, there's been a lot of freedom and everything. Would you say, would you support the fact that there's been a payment of people to actually come out to speak up for Qatar, or this is what of things here?
That is how Qataris are. They are very good. They are very receptive to visitors, and you are a journalist. You can testify that. Go to all the fun zone in Qatar. Go to Lusail. Go to Al Bidda Park. Go to the stadium and see how you interact with the Qataris. They accommodate people. Yeah, all people. These are negative information they are putting all over the media.
Are you preparing for the eventuality of Nigerians coming to Qatar and being stranded here, or some refusing to go back?
Yeah, because of that experience, we have started experiencing this thing, and we sense it will happen with our people. There is a bad egg back home, and some people, those who are at this end, telling them that they are getting them visa, telling the innocent Nigerians that they are getting them visa when they come here after World Cup, they will be able to secure a job and to continue them. They are not ready to go back. And they pay huge amount of money to Nigerian travel agents and some of this link around this Gulf region. And for last week, we have many people. That's the reason why I issue a travel advice, advising Nigerians when they are coming to Doha with that higher visa. Higher card is not a visa. It's not a working visa and cannot be transferred or converted to a working visa. So if anybody deceiving them that by getting higher card for them to come to Doha after World Cup, after the tournament to get a job, they are deceiving them.
But for those that have actually fallen into this trap?
Yeah, we have a lot of them. What we advise them as quickly as possible to facilitate for them to change their ticket to go back to Nigeria after the World Cup or immediately. Because some of them, they were stranded. A lot of them, their money pay up to 5 million naira to come to Doha, to get that higher something to come to Doha. And they will register them with the hotel. And when they reach that hotel, they don't have their booking. And some of them, they are sleeping on the street. Some of them are coming to the embassy to sleep here. It's unfortunate. It's what is happening now. And we are trying to track down those who are behind those things back at home and this in Doha. And at least we can deal with them. But one funny thing I experienced, even those who were deep and they were stranded here in Doha, if you ask them to tell you the travel agent or the detail of those travel agents so that we can do something back home to see how we can do something, they are not ready to volunteer the information as if they are under oath. So it's most unfortunate. Yeah, they are suffering, but still they are not ready to disclose.
What would you say to Nigerians? I would like to reiterate the fact about the higher card issue and visas.
Yeah, higher card is just for people. It will allow you to come and watch the tournament and go back. It cannot be converted as working visa or tourist visa. We have a very vibrant Nigerian community. Nigerians in diaspora, they are very active, and we are always getting in touch with them, and they are liaising with us to see how we can help them to put themselves together. Most of these stranded Nigerians we are having, some of them we will contact the Nigerian community, and they do assist. Some of them, they accommodate them before their date. We encourage them to change the date of travel, and the Nigerian community are accommodating them where they cannot accommodate them. The small room we have in the embassy or this, and we try to accommodate and see how we can get. Because actually, some of them, they are not ready to stay in Doha. They are not ready to stay. Some of them, they send a lot of voicemail to me that complaining that they were misled, telling them that as soon as they arrive in Doha, but the time they met a recruitment agency, they will be able to get a job. And they found that the currency here is very expensive. $100 will not be enough for them to take them for 2 or 3 days. We cannot entertain some people bad egg to be spoiling our people's names. Yeah. Anybody that is spoiling Nigerians' name here, we will not take it lightly. I will make sure that the fire will be deported back to Nigeria.
Okay, we've just been listening to Nigeria's ambassador there to Qatar, Yakubu Ahmed, speaking about the whole living in Qatar, the visa issues, the hire card. Before the World Cup, a few days to the World Cup, an travel advisory was actually released, telling Nigerians that the hire card permit, the hire permit is just an entry for the World Cup and not a visa. But it seems Nigerians did not listen to that. I'm still with Aaron Akerejola, and I'm also joined by a sports writer and editor, Victor
Bolorunduro.
Thank you very much. I couldn't pronounce it. Thank you so much for joining us on the Rise News here. Yeah. And we want you to just tell us about everything. I know there's been a lot of difficulties for Nigerians. It seems Nigerians either do not read or do not or rather are very gullible or vulnerable when it comes to travel details and everything. Can you tell us about the experience here?
All right, thank you so much. Let me first get my name right, yes, because I think it's Victor Bolorunduro.
Bolorunduro, okay.
Right, that's the name. All right, yeah, it's quite unfortunate that things like these are happening. But if you look at it, the embassy has been up and doing. They've risen up to the situation and to the occasion, and they've tried to mitigate the situation as much as possible. When you talk about gullibility, it's quite unfortunate that I don't want to say that most of our people don't read or don't listen. When the mindset is fixated on a particular goal, it's almost always impossible or difficult to change them or to change the mindset. And in most cases, even if you are giving them a very good advice, most of our people think that probably you don't want to block their chances or you don't want them to get to where they are going and things like that. I've had situations, even close friends, that could have asked for advice on issues. I mean, when you have people on ground, you could have asked for advice from those who are on ground. They would have told you, I mean, they would be in a position to enlighten you and tell you what's, the right way to go. But in most cases, people just do things the way they want because their mindset, they are already fixed on the idea of, in quote, japa. And when that mindset is there, it's almost impossible to change.
All right, almost impossible to change. But so now let's try to broaden this particular discussion. Yeah. Talk to me about the Nigerian community in Qatar. I mean, we know you live in Doha here, and you've been here for close to about a decade. Yeah. Talk to us about the Nigerian community. Are you guys close? Do you guys interact? Because clearly, several Nigerians probably would have tried to reach out in the build-up to the World Cup in terms of advice, in terms of movement, accommodation. Talk to us about the Nigerian community.
Well, the Nigerian community in Qatar is one of the most vibrant African communities you can have in Qatar. We are one of the most organized, well-organized, and we've been contributing our quota to the development, to the development of the society, as in the Qatar in general. You can find Nigerians in almost all facet of life here in Qatar and doing very well. I mean, not just, there for occupying space, for the sake of occupying space. Nigerians have been doing very well. Professionals, I mean, I can tell you that the first set of African professionals to come to Qatar are Nigerians. We've had Nigerians in top positions in the Amman Medical Hospital. Doctors, a whole lot of doctors there are Nigerians. When you talk about the hospitality sector, the first set of hotel managers and whatever that are of African descent in this country are actually from Nigeria. When as far back as the 80s, when you can count the number of Africans that are in Qatar, you have Nigerians there, and they've not been coming to do just not dirty jobs or whatever. I'm talking about real professionals here in Qatar. That's you go to the academics, the universities, Qatar University, the schools in Qatar Foundation, you have a lot of professors who are of Africa, of Nigerian descent here. And one of the UNESCO chair, is it UNESCO or UN chair for, is it human right or whatever, is actually a Nigerian professor. What's his name again? I forgot. Yeah, so in a nutshell, Nigerians are really holding their own here in Qatar, and we have the respect of the community. I'm not ruling out the bad eggs, because in every society there will always be one or two bad eggs that will want to spoil the names of the... But if you look at it holistically, and in terms of how Nigerians have been doing, I'm an online editor by far, the leading newspaper in Qatar. So I'm a living example of what Nigerians are doing in Qatar, and it shows that we are really having our way, and we are holding our heads.
Yeah, kudos, I must say.
Yeah, that's a very good one on the whole.
Thank you.
And now we'll bring it back. Talking about people who might have been gullible or falling victims of travel agents back in Nigeria, and we already know that the hire card or the hire permits can't be used as stay here. How bad is it going to be if they resist the chance to actually return to Nigeria?
It's going to be very bad. I will be frank, and if you look, I mean, playing back what His Excellency the Ambassador said when you had the sit down with him, he made it very, very clear. The hire card is not a visa. It's not a working permit. It doesn't allow it. That's why they call it hire card. They didn't say hire visa. It's a card which was issued primarily and mainly for the purpose of the World Cup. So the purpose of the hire card ceased the moment the World Cup ends. But the country has been gracious enough to extend it to January 2023, which means whatever you are doing, the World Cup final will be played on December 18, 19, next Sunday. So whatever you are doing, you enjoy the country, you want to stay back, you want to have your Christmas in Qatar, fine, the country will accommodate you. Have your Christmas, have your whatever, New Year celebrations and everything. But if you are holding the hire card, the country expects you to leave by January because you are not holding a visa. Visa is what allows you to stay. You are holding an hire card, which is not a visa. So at the end of the day, at the end of the tournament, probably when the hire card expires, definitely the law will start taking.
So, but okay, just quickly before we do, because of time, how easy or how hard is it rather to probably get permits, work permits, and also residency here in Qatar?
Yeah, everything. I mean, if you go through the legal route, it's just like what obtains in every other country. If you get a job, the responsibility of for example, if you get a job from outside of Qatar, it is the responsibility of your employer to bring you here. In other words, they cater for everything that has to do with your coming here. The air ticket, the work permit, and everything. All you need to do is to pick your bag and come. All right? So you don't have to do any other thing extra. All right? But there are situations you might find yourself here. And if you are lucky and you get a job, then it can be maybe you come here on a on a visit visa or something, and somehow in the course of your visit, you are lucky enough to get a job or to secure a job. Your employer can help convert your visit visa to a work permit, a working.
So if you don't have any gainful employment, how do you do it?
It's very difficult because the country expects you to be gainfully employed. The way the system works is that you are expected to be gainfully employed because your employer is your sponsor. So it's a bit hard not to have something doing, as it were. So the country expects you to be legally and to be gainfully employed.
Okay. Thank you very much, Victor Bolorunduro. I got it right this time. And our sports correspondent, Aaron Akrejola, thanks for joining me on the show. And this is a wrap to Global Sports Reports here on the Rise News. I'm AB Ioman. See you same time next week. Bye.